Dear students, now we will be discussing the workings which are very important for the preparation of the statement of the financial position, the consolidated statement of financial position. So the first working is the group structure. You need to calculate how much percentage the parent has acquired in the subsidiary, and we know this thing from the introductory lecture, that if the parent has acquired more than 50% shares in a company, then it is going to be called as the subsidiary, and then you are going to consolidate it. If it is less than 50%, 50% or less, then there is no concept of the control except for few circumstances, which are called as the exception of the control, which we'll be discussing later in the theory thing. So group structure means how much percentage the parent has acquired in the subsidiary. So mostly this is being given in the question, and if it is not given in the question, you can calculate it. So how you can calculate it is number of shares acquired divide by the total shares of the subsidiary multiply by the 100. So number of shares acquired, let's assume there are 60,000 shares which have been acquired, and the total number of shares of subsidiary is 100,000. Multiply by 100, then it is going to give you the 60%. So 60% shares has been acquired by the parent in the subsidiary. This is the working number one. Now we have the working number two, which is the net assets of subsidiary. And this is again a very important working. Why we are going to calculate the net assets of subsidiary? Because we need to see whether there is some goodwill or not. What is the goodwill? The goodwill is amount paid in excess of the net assets. That is known as the goodwill. So working number two is going to be the net assets of subsidiary. So we are going to take the net assets of subsidiary at acquisition and the net assets of subsidiary at reporting date. And the difference of these two things will be the post-acquisition. Post-acquisition simply means the earnings which has been made by a subsidiary after the acquisition. So we are going to take the share capital. Now share capital and the share premium of the subsidiary, from where we can get it? We can get it from the subsidiary's statement of financial position. So we're going to take the subsidiary statement of financial position, go to the share capital and share premium or equity shares, and then place the figures over here at acquisition and at reporting date. Remember this thing, that this remains the same. The same figure will be coming at acquisition and reporting date, both for the share capital and the share premium. If there's no share premium, then you can ignore it. Just simply there's going to be the share capital of the equity shares. And then we have the retained earnings. Now, whenever you are calculating the net assets of subsidiary, make sure you're giving appropriate attention to this point specifically, which is the retained earnings. Now, retained earnings at acquisition and retained earnings at the reporting date. So the reporting date is simple. You can get the retained earning at reporting date. Reporting date simply means the year end date, or you can say the financial statement date. Now you need to calculate the retained earnings. The retained earnings at reporting date is going to be the simple thing. You can get it from the subsidiary statement of financial position. Go to the subsidiary statement of financial position and see over there the retained earning. That is the retained earning at the reporting date. Now from where I can get this retained earning at acquisition? Either it is going to be in the notes, which are the extra notes being provided, either at the start of the question or after the statement of financial position being given, or you need to calculate it. So retained earning at acquisition, either it is going to be in the question, given in the question, or you need to calculate it. Now, how we can calculate it? What is the concept of that? Usually we have the calculation being involved when we have the mid-year acquisition. This is something very important to understand. Mid-year acquisition. Now the question is going to be simple. If the subsidiary is being acquired at the start of the year, everything will be easier for you. But if the subsidiary is acquired mid-year, mid-year simply means midway through the year. It can be anything. It can be 1st February, it can be 1st April, it can be, for example, 1st July, whatever it is. So in order to calculate the retained earning at acquisition when there is a mid-year acquisition, you need to draw a timeline first and make sure you are understanding this concept with appropriate attention. So let's assume the year starts from 1st January and it ends on 31st December, right? And let's assume the subsidiary is acquired exactly the midway, which is, you can say, so from 1st July. The subsidiary is being acquired on 1st July. Now I told you that in the exam question, the retained earnings at reporting date will be given. What is the retained earning at reporting date? Retained earning at reporting date simply means the retained earning at the year end. So this figure, retained earning at reporting date, is going to be in the question. So you can exactly place this figure over here. But we are only concerned regarding the retained earning as an acquisition, because the acquisition is midway. Now how we can calculate this retained earning at acquisition? In addition to the retained earnings at reporting date, the full year profit will be given as well. The full year profit will be given as well. The full year profit. The full year profit means the profit for the year. Months by 12 means the profit divided by 12. So the year starts at 1st January, the year ends at 31st December, the subsidiary is acquired on 1st July. The retained earning at reporting date is being given, which is retained earning at 31st December, but the retained earning at acquisition, which is retained earning at 1st July, is not being given, and you have to calculate that figure. So what we can do, we have the retained earning at reporting date, and remember one thing. Now this is the simplest thing to understand, that how this retained earning at reporting date is being calculated. What is the formula of calculating the retained earning at reporting date? The simple formula for calculating retained earning at reporting date is simply retained earning RE at start of the year, retained earning at start of the year, plus profit for the year. And we know this concept from our basic accounting chapter, which we studied at the start of the course, accounting equation. We know the profit is being added to the capital. So retained earnings means the accumulated profits at the start of the year plus profit for the year. So when you add these two things, retained earning at the start of the year plus profit for the year, it gives you retained earning at reporting date, which is this figure. Now we need this figure, retained earning at acquisition, which is not being given in the question. Two things are being given, retained earnings at reporting date and the full year profit. Now what we are going to do is we are going to calculate the profit of these 6 months, and the profit of these 6 months should be deducted from this figure. And when you deduct the profit of these 6 months from this figure, you will reach the retained earning at acquisition date. It makes sense, because I have told you that retained earning at reporting date is equal to retained earning at start of the year plus profit for the year. So that means in this figure, the full year profit has been included. So if I exclude the profit of this period, which is the profit of 6 months, it can be any case, it can be 4 months, 8 months, whatever the timeline in the question is. So if you deduct the profit of these months, you will reach the retained earning at acquisition. So this is the simplest concept. I'm going to revise it, that anyways retained earning at reporting date will be given in the question, and retained earning at reporting date is calculated as retained earning at start of the year plus profit for the year. So it makes sense that you have the accumulated profit at the start of the year, and then you add the profit for the year in it, and you get the retained earning at reporting date. In the question, sometime we need to calculate the retained earning at acquisition. So what we can do is take the retained earning at reporting date and deduct the profit of these 6 months. In this example, it's 6 months. It can be any figure. So you take profit, divide by 12, because this profit belongs to 12 months, multiply by 6, and deduct this amount from the retained earning, and you will reach here. So this is the reverse calculation thing. Then you have the fair value adjustment. So you take the fair values, and then fair values, we will be plotting figures both at the acquisition and reporting date. And then we have the unrealized profit, which is from subsidiary to parent. If sales has been made from subsidiary to parent, then the profit is included in the subsidiaries figure, so you need to deduct it from here. This figure will be called as retained earning at acquisition, net assets at acquisition, sorry, and this figure will be called as net assets at reporting date. The difference of these two figures is going to be the net assets post acquisition. And this post acquisition thing will be shared between the parent and the non-controlling interest, which is the percentage not acquired by the parent. So this is the working number 2, which is the net assets of subsidiary. Then is the goodwill. So what is goodwill? We have already studied that the goodwill is the consideration paid in excess of subsidiaries' net assets. The goodwill is the consideration paid in excess of the subsidiary's net asset. Let's assume net assets are $100,000 and the consideration, which is the amount being paid by the parent to the subsidiary for acquisition, is $1,20,000. Then the difference is the goodwill. And we have already studied that why the parent will be giving the extra payment to the subsidiary. This is because they may have the good customer base, they may have the good strategic location, they may have the key staff members, they may have the competence, capabilities, intellectual properties. Due to any reason, we are giving them the premium, or they are charging us the premium. So in order to calculate the goodwill, you need the consideration. Consideration is the cash simply, how much cash is being paid, and the share exchange. Now share exchange is a type of consideration in which the parent acquires the share of the subsidiary and in exchange give them their own shares. So if that is the case in the question, you need to calculate it. Total shares of the subsidiary, acquired by the parent, multiply by the fraction, multiply by the parent's share price. Now what is this? Let's assume 60,000 shares of the subsidiary is being acquired. This is the total share of the subsidiary which has been acquired, 60,000, let's assume. Multiply by the fraction. Now fraction is 1 share for every 2 shares is being issued, 2 shares for every 2 shares, 3 shares for 2 shares, 1 shares for every 5 shares. It can be anything. It can be 1 by 2, 1 by 5, 2 by 5, 2 by 3, anything. So let's assume for every 2 shares, 1 share is being issued. So that means 30,000 shares has been issued by the parent to the subsidiary in exchange. and then you multiply it by the parent's share price, whatever it is, then you get the consideration which has been paid by the parent to the subsidiary in terms of share exchange. And then you add the fair value of the non-controlling interest which is being given in the question. Now, why we are adding these two things? Why we are adding the consideration and the NCI? So let's assume we have acquired 80% shares. So our consideration resembles the 80%. The 20% worth is of the NCI. So we add these two things to make it 100%. And then we less the fair value of the net assets, which is the 100% net assets of subsidiary, which has been calculated in the working number 2. This is the figure. This is the figure which we are going to take in the working number 3. As I have told you that goodwill is the amount paid by the parent to the subsidiary in excess of their net assets. So that means we are going to compare the amount paid both by us and the non-controlling interest, and we are comparing it to the net assets of the subsidiary. So if it is more than the net asset, then the figure is going to be the positive goodwill, which is the goodwill on acquisition. This is the positive goodwill, and we know that the negative goodwill is simply the income which we are going to record in the statement of profit or loss, consolidated statement of profit or loss. The fourth working is going to be the non-controlling interest, NCI value at acquisition, which is given in the question, plus the NCI share of the post-acquisition reserve. Remember, I told you that net assets at acquisition compared by the net assets reporting date gives you the post-acquisition figure. This is the profit which has been earned by the subsidiary after the acquisition. So it does not belong completely to us. It will be shared between the parent and the non-controlling interest. So whatever the figure of the NCI share of post-acquisition reserve is, we are going to add it over here. And this will give you the total NCI figure, which we are going to take in the consolidated statement of financial position. And I have told you that thing that is being recorded between the equity and the liabilities. Let me show you again where it was. So this is the non-controlling interest, and I told you that this is what the parent has not acquired, the non-controlling interest. Now the last working is the group retained earnings. Again, the group retained earnings, let me show you where this figure is. We have already studied that the equity section is of the parent only. So retained earnings, working number 5, which we are going to calculate. So parents retained earning, from where we can get it? From the parent's statement of financial position. And then you add the subsidiaries post-acquisition reserve, which is the share of the parent. We gave the share to the NCI and now giving the share to the parent. And then you deduct the unrealized profit from it if parent is the seller. Remember this, if the parent is the seller. If the subsidiary is the seller, it is going to be deducted from working number 2. If the parent is seller, it is deducted from the working number 5. And then it gives you the group retained earnings, which you're going to take within the equity section of the consolidated statement of financial position. You see here, this is working number 5, and this NCI figure is coming from the working number 4. So we have studied each and every component of the consolidated statement of financial position. We started with the non-current asset. We discussed the property, plant and equipment adjustments. We discussed the goodwill. We discussed the investment in associates. Then we came towards the current assets. Then we have discussed the equity. Then we discussed the liabilities. And then we have discussed the workings, which are very important for the preparation of the consolidated statement of financial position.